Looking at my peer group, my friends, a lot of people in my audience, it seems like number 3, why does my life matter, is where people struggle the most. In part, we can talk about the dozens of factors at play, I am sure, but for some people, and I have some thoughts on this, but for some younger people, it's, I don't know what to do because AI is going to take all the jobs.
Right.
And I don't know, therefore, how my contributions will matter.
I will become less significant.
I'll become less significant. Therefore, I don't know how to conclude that my life matters. How did you personally arrive at an answer to this question? I'll just, rather than bearing the lead, I'll just throw it out there, which is take the time to not just study people who do huge things in short periods of time, but also study people who commit to things that take longer than their lifetimes, like scientists, like
clergy. But there's a compatible point with that, which is stop looking for your significance at the macro level. Start looking at the micro level, which is your love relationships around you. This is where people feel significance. This is how most people find significance. You don't find significance by getting 1 million Instagram followers. Significance comes from love. Love is the essence of significance, and it's whom I love and who loves me. That's what it comes down to. And a lot of people today, one of the things that I actually find in this book is that a lot of young people today don't have those micro commitments. Mm-hmm. And they're trying to establish macro significance, which is a big problem.
And this ties into, I believe it was something David Foster Wallace said, tragic character, brilliant on so many levels, but in effect, and people could track this down, I put it in my newsletter at one point, but we all worship something. And task number 1 is figuring out what you worship.
I think it's a graduation speech where he talked about that, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So if it's not religion, it's going to be something else. And I'm wondering, it seems to me that religion, belief in the divine, might be another way to put it, is almost genetically programmed in humans.
So what we find is that anthropologists, including paleoanthropologists, find there's no civilization that they've ever encountered that doesn't worship. But there are no cultures that don't have religious foundation to them.
But then the question is, okay, if this is hardwired, if this might actually be a constitutional psychological requirement, how do you satisfy that requirement if you are not going to adopt an organized religion?
So this is a question not of religion, but of transcendence. Transcendence is the phenomenon in which we move from the me self to the I self, in the words of William James, the father of psychology. The I self is looking out, and including looking up and standing in awe. The me self is looking in the mirror and thinking about yourself. What we need to actually find meaning, to find significance, paradoxically, is to look less at ourselves. Significance, the sense of significance, comes from being, this is really paradoxical, and yet everybody will understand it when I say it. To feel significance, you need to be less significant. Go in at 9, and at 10:30, I come out and I say, I'm a speck on a speck on a speck, and I'm at peace. That's transcendence. To stand in awe in the I self, looking out in awe of the universe, things bigger than you. The first is to transcend upward, and the other is to transcend outward, which is why worship of the divine, spiritual and religious experiences do this, and also service to others. And it's really important to keep in mind that there are ways to transcend.
The reason that I bring up meditation is because I think one of the easiest paths to self-transcendence and to significance in your life is training your awareness so that the mundane becomes miraculous. And when you start to recognize how fucking unbelievably insane it is that we are even conscious to begin with having this experience, and you start to notice how incredible the little things are, which require you to not be distracted, requires you to breathe and pay attention. It's not that complicated. It can be challenging. Then you start to perceive almost everything as significant without focusing on establishing your own significance.